Today, we're going to read an article from the BBC together. And this article is about the Summer Olympics in Paris. And this lesson will help you expand your vocabulary, learn correct grammar, and improve your pronunciation. Of course, I'm Jennifer from JForrest English. Now let's get started.
First, I'll read the headline, Paris 2024. How is France preparing for the Olympics? Let's start with a poll. So I want you to share your answer in the comments and you can put A, B, or C. Which one best describes you? I'm attending the Olympics in Paris. How cool would that be? I'm attending A. B, I'm watching at home. Or C, neither. Neither. Different pronunciation, but same meaning. It means not A, not B. So basically with C, you're saying, I'm not interested in the Olympics, which is perfectly fine. So which best describes you? A, B, or C? Put your answer in the comments. Now, let's look back at our headline, Paris 2024. How is France preparing for? Notice this preposition. I hear students make this mistake a lot. They say, I'm preparing the IELTS. But that's grammatically incorrect, and you won't get a high score on the IELTS if you forget prepositions. I'm preparing for the IELTS. Another common mistake is with articles. Just remember it's the Olympics, not Olympics. I'm going to Olympics. I'm going to the Olympics. You need the in front of it, and it's plural as well. Don't worry about taking these notes because I summarize everything in a free lesson PDF. You can find the link in the description. Let's continue with the article. The Summer Olympics, again, remember that S here. The Summer Olympics run from July 26th to August 11th. So remember when we have a date range, you begin the date range with from X to Y. You can use a specific date like they have here, or you could say a day of the week from Monday to Wednesday, from this afternoon to tomorrow afternoon, from summer to winter, from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. So you can use many different options as well. And notice our verb here, run. The Summer Olympics run. Instead of run, you could say the Summer Olympics take place or occur from. Those are options. The Summer Olympics run from July 26th to August 11th with 10,500 athletes competing in 329 events. Now notice this preposition in because you compete in something. So maybe one athlete is competing in the triathlon, for example. Now, what are the athletes competing for? Notice that preposition change. You compete in an event and you compete for. What are the athletes competing for? Put the answer in the comments. Of course, they're competing for the gold medal, or maybe it's a trophy or first place. Those are the most common choices, but perhaps you said something different in the comments, so I'm excited to read them. So you compete in a competition, an event, and you compete for to receive something physical or a title as well. There will be 206 countries represented at the Olympics. Now notice our article, and also it's plural. So don't forget that. And while we're talking about the Olympics, what's your favorite Olympic summer sport? Because we're talking about the Summer Olympics. So what's your favorite summer Olympic sport? Share that in the comments. I'm excited to read that. More than 15 million tourists are expected in Paris during the Games. Now here, notice they're just using games, but the G is capitalized because it represents the Olympic Games, and this becomes a proper noun. But notice, I told you before that Olympics needs an S, the Olympics. But I just said the Olympic Games. Do you know why I changed it from having that plural form, the S, to a singular form? In our first sentence, I'm watching the Olympics. Olympics is a noun, and in this case, it's a proper noun, so it's capitalized. Here, I'm watching the Olympic Games. In this sentence, Olympic is an adjective that describes games, the type of games, and adjectives don't have plural forms in English, and that's why Olympic doesn't have an S. Or you can simply drop the adjective and say, I'm watching the games. Notice it's still plural. There's always a plural there. And in this case, games is a noun, is a proper noun, and that's why it's capitalized. All three of these are common. The most common is probably just the first one. I'm watching the Olympics. And notice here, more than 15 million tourists. This is a mistake I see. Students add an S on million, but no S on million. The S is on the noun tourist. So remember that as well.
Are you enjoying this lesson? If you are, then I want to tell you about the Finally Fluent Academy. This is my premium training program where we study native English speakers from TV, the movies, YouTube, and the news so you can improve your listening skills of fast English, expand your vocabulary with natural expressions, and learn advanced grammar easily. Plus, you'll have me as your personal coach. You can look in the description for the link to learn more, or you can go to my website and click on Finally Fluent Academy. Now let's continue with our lesson.
Parliamentary elections will be held on June 30th, and they could result in a new government. Notice here, will be held. The structure is to be held, and then you conjugate your auxiliary verb be. In this case, it's in the future simple, and then held is always in the third form. You could use the expressions we previously learned, take place, will take place, because in the future simple, will take place, will occur. But I wouldn't use run, because for run, there has to be more of a start and finish. So if it said parliamentary elections will run from June 30th to July 2nd, then you could use run, but there has to be a from to when you use run. But you can use these three options. Will be held on June 30th. Now notice we use the preposition on if you have the specific day in the month mentioned. If it's just the month, what would it be? Will be held in June. Now you could say in late June, because 30th is very late in June, in late June, in June. But when you add the specific day, you need to change the preposition to on. So again, so important to memorize these prepositions in English. And they could result. Notice how they use the modal verb could, because there's the potential. It's not guaranteed that a new government will form. It's just a potential, a possibility. So that's why they're using the modal verb could. And remember, it's modal plus base verb. And also another preposition for you to remember, result in something. For example, the Olympics, remember article the and S, the Olympics resulted in, and then something, significant tourism in Paris. So result in something. The organizers of Paris 2024, so the name of the Olympics, the organizers of Paris 2024 say the parliamentary elections called by French President Emmanuel Macron will not disrupt preparations for the game. So here, this is the noun form of prepare. So the noun form is preparations, but you still need the preposition for when you use the noun form. Let's review a sentence. I'm preparing for my IELTS, the same sentence we saw before. And of course, prepare is a verb. You use the preposition prepare for something. I've completed something, my preparations. This is the noun form of the verb prepare. I've completed my preparations for my IELTS. So just a different way of saying the same thing. I just want to stop and ask if you're enjoying this lesson, if you like this style of lesson where we review the news together. If you do, then just like this video and put yes, yes, yes in the comments so I know you want me to keep making more videos like this. And of course, make sure you subscribe because I have many lessons like this on my channel. Let's continue. However, the mayor of the French capital, of course, Paris, the mayor of Paris, says holding elections less than a month, you could say one or a represents one in this case, less than a month, 1 month before the games begin is extremely unsettling. To be unsettling, notice you need that verb to be, and then this is an adjective in ing. To be unsettling, this is when something causes anxiety, unease, worry, concern, those types of negative emotions. So maybe you say to your friend, colleague, 100 people are attending my presentation. And your friend or colleague says, that's great. And you reply back and say, no, it's not. It's unsettling. This causes a lot of worry, concern, anxiety in me. It's unsettling. And then you can intensify that. It's extremely unsettling. Let's continue. Games venues. In the center of Paris. Let's take a look at this. Games venues. In this case, games is still functioning as a noun, which is why you see that S on it. Games venues, venues for the games in the center of Paris will be cordoned off. Listen to my pronunciation. Cordoned, dinned, cordoned. So the emphasis is on the first syllable, core, and then the second syllable is unstressed, dinned, ind. Cordoned. Repeat after me. Cordoned. Now, we also need that preposition off. So let's combine these together. Cordoned off. Notice how I take this d and I connect it onto off. Cordoned off. Repeat after me. Cordoned off. Cordoned off to the public. Now, when something, in this case, this specific area in Paris is cordoned off, it's when someone with authority restricts entrance to a specific area. You could say to a friend, avoid downtown. Most streets are cordoned off because of the parade or for the parade. Now, in this case, you're not saying who is doing the action, which is the most common way. So to be cordoned off in this case. But you could say who cordoned off the area, most likely the police or someone of authority. The police cordon off most streets downtown because of the parade or for the parade. So the first one is more common, but you can still identify who is doing the action. And notice in this article, there is a lot of future simple because this is taking place in the future. So will be cordoned off. There will be extensive traffic restrictions. Extensive, of course, intensifies it by saying many, a lot, a more advanced way. Worried about threats such as a drone attack, the government has cut spectator numbers for the Olympic opening ceremony. So in this case, there's no S, which means That's right, it's an adjective. So the noun in this case is the opening ceremony. But what type of opening ceremony? The Olympic opening ceremony. So in this case, it's an adjective. Now let's take a look at our verb cut. This means reduce the number of, and a spectator is someone who attends the event to watch. So if you go in person to the opening ceremony, you're a spectator. If you watch it on TV as well, you would also be a spectator. So again, you can replace the verb cut with reduce, but this is in the present perfect form, so you need that third form. For cut, all three forms are cut. Cut, cut, cut. But with reduce, you need that ed. Let's continue. One opinion poll. Remember, we had our poll at the beginning where I asked you A, B, or C. So of course, a poll is when you get someone's opinion or information from someone. One opinion poll suggested that 44% of Parisians, this is the name for people who live in Paris, Parisian, but 44% of Parisians, so you need that S there. 44% of Parisians think hosting the Olympics is a bad thing. Not surprising, right? Think of all the traffic and commotion and the disruption to your daily life because of the Olympics, with many planning to leave town. Now notice here, town. Paris is, of course, a major city. It is not a small town, but we use this expression to refer to leave the place where you are, whether it's a city, a town, that doesn't matter. We just use the word town. It's very common to say, we're going out of town. Out of town. Now, this simply means you're leaving your area, whatever your area is. We're going out of town this weekend. We're going to another area. Now, we have a few expressions with town as well. Have you heard a night on the town? A night on the town? It's been a long time since we had a night on the town. A night on the town is a lively night, but in your area. So wherever you live, you go out dancing or for a nice dinner or to see a comedy show or something involving entertainment, but in your area. That's a night on the town. So hopefully you've had a fun night on the town recently. Now, we also have an expression, get out of town. Get out of town. And this is another way of saying, are you serious? I don't believe you. So you might tell me, Jennifer, I won the lottery. I won $100 million. Get out of town. Are you serious? I don't believe you. So this is a fun expression as well. But in this case, town, it just means area. Planning to leave the area. Bus and metro fares will double in the capital during the games. Not surprising as well. So of course, a fare is the amount of money that you have to pay to take the bus or the metro. So if it was $1 and it doubles, then it's of course $2. Charities complained after hundreds of squatters were evicted from buildings close to the new sites. So if they're evicted, it means that they were told to leave permanently. So if you're evicted from your apartment, you must leave permanently. Hopefully that would never happen to you. Now, hundreds of squatters. Do you know who or what a squatter is? A squatter is someone who illegally, they're not allowed to, stays in an unoccupied building. That building could be your home. If you go on vacation for 4 months and then someone decides to live in your home while you're not there, while it's unoccupied, no one is using it for a period of time, then that person is a squatter. So, of course, they were told to permanently leave. They were evicted. Many Parisians are irritated at the security restrictions, which will be imposed, again, because it's in the future, which will be imposed in the city center. Paris will be unbearable. One resident told the BBC. So resident, another word would be Parisian. One Parisian told the BBC. Impossible to park, impossible to move around, impossible to do anything. So these are the reasons why Paris will be unbearable. Unbearable is a strong adjective. It means so unpleasant, extremely unpleasant, so unpleasant that it's difficult to endure, difficult to even be in Paris because of how unpleasant it is. It's a very dramatic adjective, but we use this a lot in a dramatic way, often to describe people. For example, your boss, my boss is unbearable. He is so, or she is so unpleasant, any negative emotion, that it's difficult for you to even be around your boss. Or hopefully you won't say this, but this lesson that you're watching right now was unbearable. It was so unpleasant. It was difficult for you to even watch. But I don't think that's true, because if you are at the end of this lesson, well, then you endured it. You kept going. So I don't think you would describe it as that. So just to make sure you don't, put in the comments, yes, if you liked this lesson and you want me to keep making more. So I know it wasn't unbearable. I noticed a spelling error there. It's unbearable. So put yes in the comments if you enjoyed this lesson. Paris will be unbearable. So very dramatic statement, but of course normal in this specific situation. And that's the end of the article. So what I'll do now is I'll read the article from start to finish, and this time you can focus on my pronunciation. Paris 2024. How is France preparing for the Olympics? The Summer Olympics run from July 26th to August 11th, with 10,500 athletes competing in 329 events. There will be 206 countries represented at the Olympics. More than 15 million tourists are expected in Paris during the Games. Parliamentary elections will be held on June 30th, and they could result in a new government. The organizers of Paris 2024 say the parliamentary elections called by French President Emmanuel Macron will not disrupt preparations for the Games. However, the mayor of the French capital says holding elections less than a month before the Games begin is extremely unsettling. Games venues in the center of Paris will be cordoned off to the public, and there will be extensive traffic restrictions. Worried about threats such as a drone attack, the government has cut spectator numbers for the Olympic opening ceremony. One opinion poll suggested that 44% of Parisians think hosting the Olympics is a bad thing, with many planning to leave town. Bus and metro fares will double in the capital during the Games. Charities complained after hundreds of squatters were evicted from buildings close to the new sites. Many Parisians are irritated at the security restrictions, which will be imposed in the city center. Paris will be unbearable, one resident told the BBC. Impossible to park, impossible to move around, impossible to do anything.
So did you like this lesson? Do you want me to make more lessons just like this? If you do, put yes, 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 put yes, yes, yes in the comments below. And of course, make sure you like this lesson, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. And you can get this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can click here to download it or look for the link in the description. And you can keep expanding your vocabulary with 600 words. Watch it right now.